The Boys Season 4 Episode 2 opens with a parody of The Blind Side, showing A-Train and Will Ferrell, which is littered with all kinds of racist stereotypes. A-Train predictably is not happy with the role at all. But life among the Septics goes from lighthearted back to dark pretty quickly, but he doesn't have any option but to do the movie because he has to do what Vought wants him to. As he proceeds to take a break to cool off for a while, Black Noir comes up to him, asking for directions as he has never killed anyone before. He asked A-Train if Homelander do kill people a lot, apparently, is having issues portraying Noir because he doesn't know what drives him. The scene immediately cut, as we then see Starlight been furious about the news portraying her movement as been violent. Meanwhile, Huey is going through an emotional roller coaster. Not only is his father in a coma, but his mother is back after leaving the two of them 6 years ago, selling fertility beauty products and being given power of attorney over all medical decisions by Huey's father, which baffles Huey. His mother then promised him that she could handle the situation. Frenchie, on the other hand, tried sneaking out of his new reunion apartment, but was then caught, saying he doesn't want to wake him up. While Kimiko, on the other hand, has been working with a therapist to treat her psychological mutism. Considering she breaks the handles of her chair in half when asked about her parents, it isn't going well, which scares the therapist. Butcher then informed the team about his time left to live, which was shocking to them, as Butcher finally reveals to them about the tumor in his brain caused by Tempest. While the rest of the team is sympathetic, makes the pragmatic decision and kicks Butcher out of the team, which injured Butcher, who reminds that he would need all the help he can get. But as points out, he is a liability, a dying man with a last bluff, before asking him to get this stuff and leave his house. The scene switched to Vought. Preparations are being made to introduce Ryan to the world as the son of Homelander, or Homeboy, with a backstory highlighting good old American values. But Saj immediately shuts down all the PR stunts, saying it doesn't make sense, reminding them that Ryan is the world's first natural-born superhero, and thus his brand would need to reflect that assessment. It could only work if the chosen narrative, a la Joseph Campbell reflection on Luke Skywalker, would be utilized. But that would also entail that Ryan would be introduced alone, without the Homelander association burdening him, which doesn't sit right with the petty preening peacock that is Homelander. Sage then eventually took a picture with Homelander, saying he chose her, but then Homelander isn't having Ashley, and Sage then discussed while in an elevator about the way she has been speaking to Homelander, warning her of who Homelander is. But as the smart and proud girl Sage was, she seems not to accept the advice, as she believes she telling Homelander the truth, as they are all afraid of him. This leads to her advising Deep to stand up for himself against Ashley, considering he is effectively the highest stage of evolution humanity has to offer. The Billy Butcher team began to investigate the death of Todd and his home team, as out of 116 in his guise was seen going into Planet Vought, but suddenly they were not seen again until 2.09 when their dead bodies magically appear at the rally. They believe that it was A-Train doing, and also Sister Sage, who came up with the plan since she was the smartest person alive. Meanwhile, marketing team of Vought, that suspiciously looks and feels like Amazon, plans a save with a stunt director directing Noir and Deep on their location in the set pieces. He also acts as the robber who kidnaps and holds a girl at gunpoint that Ryan rescues by pushing the director away. The director even advises Ryan to throw him as hard as he can take it. However, Ryan slowly starts to realize the subterfuge and reality television aspect of the entire endeavor, even choosing to ask Homelander whether any of his saves have been genuine. He had to stammer and respond in the affirmative, but it did rattle him. At the set, Deep takes Sage advice to serious that he threatened Ashley, making her so scared of him. Homelander is happy about what some individuals were saying about his son, but immediately get angry after the spill some negative word about his son. At Vought Inn, the team had reached only to find Butcher waiting there. Reluctantly realizing there is nothing can do to stop Butcher from being present, the team of Butcher, Kimiko, and Frenchie enter Truth Con, a conspiracy theorist convention held in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Images of children in cages trigger Kimiko because they remind her of her troubled past. She gets separated from the group and gets drunk. Frenchie and Kimiko discuss about their situation, to which Frenchie tells her it never about her, before she then told him that she drank 8 bottles of beer. Just then, they go inside a room to investigate, but eventually heard a noise coming from a room, only for them to see crazy things of men doing stuff, and Frenchie immediately leaves. Huey and Starlight talked about Huey's childhood trauma before also asking if Starlight friends who got hurt during the protest. Just then, they found A-Train, who is seen taking a picture with a fan and also discussing and telling them some story. Immediately, A-Train brother came in asking A-Train to tell them the truth about the whole thing and their fake movie theaters, as their safe was never real, before telling his son that his uncle is no hero and they leave. We then see a serious argument between Butcher and MM, which ended up with a fight between both of them. Nearby, Kimiko became frustrated and furious after seeing her poster, and she became violent. Frenchie then met her to calm her down before running off. A-Train had clocked Huey and Starlight, following him, and by his super speed, had reached their location at least an hour before Huey and Annie managed to return. However, Reggie had come with an olive branch security camera footage of the two Starlighters being railroaded over the media for the murder, at least 20 blocks away from the time of the murder, giving them an alibi and a chance to clear their name. Ryan's choreographed set, however, doesn't go exactly as planned. Homelander, being the cocky and insecure soup he is, manages to hog the limelight immediately, interrupting Ryan's save and encouraging him to hit the kidnapper under the watchful eyes of all the individuals. Ryan, a mixture of nervous and terrified, can't control his power and pushes the robber, aka Stuntman, too hard, who flies and hits the side of the building, becoming a bloody mess. Frenchie and his mate is seen sneaking into a building, but the team walks into a trap, laid carefully by Sage, which she deems the final audition for Firecracker, whereby she would have to kill these deep-state moles of the CIA. As it turns out, that doesn't happen, because Kimiko manages to overpower Firepower. However, the boys' team begins to get overpowered due to the sheer number of clones of Splinter, which pushes the team to another conference room to host a birthday party with the theme, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The hilarious and violent fight finally gets breathing room when Butcher suddenly appears with his trusty crowbar and begins to deliver killing blows left and right. As the clones start overpowering Butcher, he instructs MM to take the rest of the team and run. MM, realizing Butcher's sincerity, gets back into the fray of the fight and pushes those clones away, giving Butcher space to drive the crowbar through the chin and break through the head. That move kills the prawn Splinter, killing off his clones as well. The Firecracker in the commotion escapes, traumatized Ryan, who emphatically states that he will never do that again. If saving means preparation and preparing for the camera, Ryan might be better off. That frustrates Homelander, who leaves Ryan with food for thought. He is destined for much more as he has chosen. It's hard to understand whether Homelander believes that or whether he has drunk the Vought Kool-Aid. Starlight is seen showing up for her fans. As the episode comes to an end, Frenchie, having fallen off the wagon, calling his ex-lover Sherry, would used to work with him for Little Nina, the Russian mobster. Through that conversation, he reveals that Colin Hauser used to be a judge's son, and Frenchie had murdered his family. He had, however, met Colin, presumably years later, and had given him a job at Starlight's organization, but now he is too deep and racked with guilt. The past also begins to hurt Kimiko, who while at TruthCon saw images of child trafficking that dislodged a long-buried memory of being trapped by the terrorist ring. Huey's emotional outburst occurs after the hard day he had when he returns to the hospital and reminds her that her promise isn't worth much of anything since she left him and his father after promising to take him to a Billy Joel concert. Promises are fragile and Huey has had enough of standing by them. He informs her that she won't make any medical decisions about his father without his consent, and if she doesn't like it, then he will challenge her in court. Meanwhile, Butcher arrives to speak with MM at their headquarters, and in a moment of rare vulnerability, he admits that they should have left him to die. He advises MM that while he appreciates the team saving his hide, the right decision would have been to capture Sage. Butcher then finally pleads for Emma's help in rescuing Ryan, if only to get one thing right in a life filled with so many messes. Unfortunately, Emma refuses, citing that it is too late. Kindly subscribe if you love content like this to get the remaining recap of The Boys Season 4 Episode 3. Goodbye.